Catalina Island is clearly a UAP hotspot. What's going on?
What I can definitely say to you is that there is an inordinate number of truly fascinating UAP and USO cases in that area. One thing I wonder is what kind of military, if any, connection is there. Catalina Island is not far from the area where, of course, the USS Nimitz had its encounter with the famous Tic Tac UFO. We all know about that. And there are a number of other U.S. Navy operations going on down there by San Diego and all across the California coastline, in fact. So that's a factor that I often wonder, like, how does that fit into all of this? And I don't know if we have the full answer, but I can definitely say with confidence that there is a definite strangeness going on with that area, without a doubt.
Is it possible, Richard, that there's a base of non-human intelligences that's located itself somewhere underwater?
I definitely think it's possible. Yes, Ross, I do. There are a few places on the planet where it seems to me that you've got a real potential for a non-human base. And I do think that Catalina Island or somewhere around that is a real possibility.
Welcome back to this special edition of Reality Check. I'm your host, Ross Coulthart. Our correspondent, Ben Hansen, is a UFO hunter in his own right. We sent him off the coast of Southern California with a mission to interview witnesses and use high-tech equipment to take us under ocean waters.
Now we have Rear Admiral Timothy Gallaudet. Now he's been a member of our team for quite some time because of his expertise in so many things. I mean, News Nation is not a stranger to the Rear Admiral here. He was the admin of NOAA. He's has a doctorate in oceanography. And for these reasons, we'd like him to weigh in on what we're about to do here. So, Tim, thanks so much for joining us. We're here actually a couple miles offshore of Redondo Beach. And the information that you sent me about the Redondo Canyon, I'd like to ask you a couple questions about that.
Well, so I did some research here in a fairly recent paper on the sedimentary processes in this region. Was published in about 10 years ago here in Marine Geology. And this is a really interesting paper because these authors used all the modern instruments that are at our disposal. So we're talking what they call multi-beam bathymetry or multi-beam sonar, and also autonomous underwater vehicles that have side scan sonar on them. So they have some highly resolved data sets that are worth digging into. So first off, here's the big overview of the area we're looking into. Yeah. You have Santa Monica Bay, and then it's got yet one canyon, Santa Monica Canyon, and then the Redondo Canyon. And then another view straight on is here. And so, yeah, there's
oh, wow.
Look at the drop off. If I were a USO and I wanted to hide somewhere, this is a great place to do it. And you see the steep structures here on the canyon walls. Now, granted, there is one thing. These are very active areas, so they're often these turbidity flows or landslides underwater. So a lot of activity to conceal any movement by any craft. So this would be the place to be.
And Admiral, doesn't this connect? The end of this Redondo Canyon connects to the wider Catalina Channel. Is that correct?
That's right. Let's go back a little bit. And this is really interesting. So first off, this red circle is the region I recommended you go dive on. And you can see it. It just pretty much goes right to the offshore region, the Santa Monica Basin and Catalina Channel, where I showed you earlier. This is the area where a lot of UAPs have been seen by Navy ships and others. So yeah, it's basically it's kind of like a monorail route right into the region UAPs have been sighted. That's why I think it'd make for an ideal place of concealment, coming from offshore and going into this canyon. And so I know Navy pilots well and their attitudes. And he joked, he said, "I don't know what it is, but I sure would like to fly it."
We have Oceanbotics with us. They've been very gracious to lend us their latest and greatest. We will let you know if we find anything. I've been told we even have sonar and a grabber arm on the bottom. Now, I don't think we're going to grab anything at the bottom, but who knows?
So we're about 5 miles offshore of Redondo Beach, and we're following the GPS coordinates that Admiral Gallaudet gave us. We're hoping to put in here at about maybe 900 feet and start drifting so that we can get somewhere. Your tether goes to about 1,000. We need a couple hundred feet though to maneuver in, is that correct?
That's correct.
And it looks like it has some pinchers on there.
It does. We have a mechanical grabber, so if we see something of interest and we want to bring it up to the surface, we can to inspect it.
Can it grab a 20 or 30 foot saucer disc and bring it up?
Depending on the weight and water, yes it can.
I think the main goal here is to see from our perspective how far and fast this canyon drops off and what it looks like. All we have are maps from the top side.
All right, on 3. 1, 2, 3.
You are free, little ROV. Go forth and find us UFOs.
Our field of view right now, I'd say, is probably 20 feet there. And then on the sonar, we have it set to 100 feet in front of us.
100 feet, but can the lights let us see about what, 20 feet?
About 20 feet of visibility right now.
Okay.
That's it.
We've launched it and retrieved it.
It's a good sign.
So this is a great example of what we're trying to accomplish today. You can see on the side profile of the sonar here, this indicates where we've been, and this was about 250 feet. That was the level of the kind of like, I guess you could say the plains where it dropped off when we put the ROV was right here, right at the drop off. You can see now it goes all the way down to 800 feet right here. And then there's another little canyon, and then this, as we're progressing back to shore now, comes all the way back up to the surface. So we have this huge canyon that's not too far off from the shore, and that leads right up literally to the Redondo Beach Pier.
Did Ben find a UFO? No, but he exposed how easy it is for them to hide there. Even with world-class underwater video equipment, it's practically impossible to get a true look inside the underwater canyons below the famous military UFO sighting, the Tic Tac. Who knows what else could be lurking below?
When anomalies leave the ocean, they head towards the sky, which is where viewers like you and military pilots often spot and report them. Next up, a UFO witness called Thor with a wild story. And he's also got a cute dog.
That is, his name is My Puppy. He goes everywhere with me.
Has My Puppy been on a lot of your journeys and everything out on the boat?
For the past 8 years, yeah. He's been there every time with me.
Welcome back to this special edition of Reality Check on News Nation. I'm your host, Ross Coulthart. The military videos of possible UAPs, known as the Tic Tac, Go Fast and Gimbal, have captivated us all for years and gone without acceptable explanation by the Pentagon. And there are countless sightings of strange lights and possible UFOs over the waters of our oceans every week.
Thor Lysen is a boat captain who frequents the waters near Catalina Island.
These lights started appearing up in the sky.
Hard to find where the hell. Okay, where'd the third one go?
On the 13th of September 2021, Thor was on the water when he recorded this video showing 3 orange orbs. This is the same general area where the famous Tic Tac video was recorded by the US military, and above the deep and mysterious ocean caverns that Tim Gallaudet pointed us to.
While I was actually filming these lights, my friend called me on the telephone, asked me if I was okay. I'm like, what are you talking about? She said, well, I see lights out there. And I thought they might have been flares, like you were shooting flares out. Because she knows my past and that I've had I've been stuck on boats stranded out in the ocean before. So she's just reassuring that I wasn't stuck on a boat.
So she could see them all the way from Catalina.
You know that Catalina is very rich in UFO history.
Thor's video was first tested for some kind of logical explanation by Discovery Channel investigators.
So the first thing we did was check the marine casualty database to see if anybody had an emergency or they had to shoot off an emergency flare.
The Marine Casualty Database tracks emergencies on the water, and that night nobody was firing flares. Nearby Camp Pendleton also telling this Discovery Channel investigative team there were no nighttime drills. Vandenberg Air Force Base did launch a SpaceX rocket with Starlink satellites that night, 155 miles north and 25 minutes before Thor's sighting. But these investigators say that doesn't explain this UFO, based off the trajectory of the rocket and the timing.
So we don't know what it is.
I personally think this is one of the most compelling cases that we've seen.
And Thor tells News Nation's Ben Hansen in a brand new interview that was far from his only sighting.
Oh, wow. They came back.
We'll talk about the video first. So you have this amazing video of these kind of, would you describe them as orangish, amberish spheres, orbs?
Yeah, they look like miniature galaxies, to tell you the truth, yeah.
Okay.
Like when you're looking inside of them? Or what do you mean they look like a...
Like if you saw a picture of a galaxy, there's like this spiral, like, I don't know, misty looking of stars or whatnot going on in there. Yeah. That's what they look like.
Your day job, you're a boat captain, correct?
Yeah, I do sport fishing charters here out of Dana Point Harbor.
Okay, how long have you been piloting boats?
I've been taking boats out of this harbor since I was a little kid. So like there's the houses on the cliff right over there. Those were always blocking my view. No, I grew up in this neighborhood, so this is like my backyard right here.
Okay, so many, many years of doing this. And that's what really interests us with your case, because how long would you say the total duration from when you saw these things? You have a couple minutes on that video, but if you were to say from start to stop on one set of those orangish lights, how long were they up in the air?
Probably I was witnessing them flying close to my boat for about 10 minutes. There's some smaller ones off in the distance you don't see in the video, but it'd start out like as 3 orbs that were close together like in a triangular pattern, and they'd all kind of they were changing colors from red, black, orange, some weird oddball stuff, and they would merge together as one, and then they'd split off. There'd be 2 of them, then there'd be 1, then there'd be 3 of them, and at certain points they'd just disappeared altogether and would just reappear. They'd drop down close to the water, like right above the water, and started coming towards me.
Really?
Until they finally just disappeared, and it looked like they disappeared down into the ocean at that point.
And the reason I fully believe you is because I've talked to a lot of people. We've had other witnesses, very, very similar, orangish lights. We're always trying to figure out, could they possibly be flares? That's why, because of our connections here, Silverado did contact some friends. And what did we learn then about the actual Navy exercises that night?
So we were able to establish at least a month prior to your sighting, there was a large-scale Navy exercise going off the coast, but it ended a month before your sighting happened.
Yeah.
We're pretty confident in saying that this was not military exercises. It was nothing that was officially done by them. And if you do something unofficially, you're still probably going to use your exercise training area. There'd be no point to alarm, regular citizens or cause safety issues. Because as a pilot, if someone's dropping an air flare in front of me, I am blinded, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that is not cool. So you also had a pretty incredible event take place.
So we're probably right around 5-7 miles off of Avalon towards this coast, a little bit south of there.
Okay.
And we drove over something, and I know the water's probably 1,400 feet deep, or it drops off really deep out there into the abyss, basically. Mm-hmm. And somewhere along the line, we drove over something. I have no idea what it could have been, but as we drove over it for those few moments, it flashed lights up at us. I'm talking it looked like baseball stadium lights just surrounding the boat, just beaming up all around us.
When you say drove over, was it already lit up and then you went over the top of it?
No,
or
it wasn't
came up after you were over?
It wasn't until we got directly over whatever it was when these lights came and just beamed all around the boat. Middle of the night, probably around 12 o'clock.
So it lit everything up.
Yeah.
Could you estimate kind of what the radius, how big it was around the boat?
I would say quite possibly half the size of a field.
Of a football field?
50 yards?
Yeah, about 50 yards,
Wow.
25 in all directions, and sat there the rest of the night with a gun in my hand waiting for something to come creeping out of the water. I was that scared.
Wow.
Like, I don't get scared easy, but that was a moment.
Now, this is a ridiculous question, but what would you tell people who said, oh, well, it's probably phosphorus and algae and the blooms we get, you know, that sparkle?
Yeah, well, the phosphorescence, I've seen it all my life since I live right here. I mean, you catch like a little mackerel that's like a foot long and it looks like it's 10 feet when you're catching it at night with the phosphorescence, and it glows a green color. Like I said, baseball stadium lights that were bright white beaming up from the bottom or wherever, however deep it was down there.
I even got some information from an air traffic controller who said they had jets scrambled somewhere between here and the channel because I believe a pilot had witnessed something under the water. They said it was like the size of a city. All right, a light the size of a city, and so they went to check it out. So just know, well, you already know, you're not the first or the last to witness that type of phenomena. What it is, I don't know, but we're gonna look into it further.
They recorded something in the sky, like an anomaly.
They did. I was actually there.
In the sky, they captured something on their IR camera. It was kind of like this dark part of the cloud and these objects that looked like they were around it, right? The same time, this same device, the Cosmic Watch, picked up an anomaly.
This is where they did research and found that anomaly, they isolated it to somewhere within this very large area. I'm Ben Hansen, and this is Reality Check with Ross Coulthart on News Nation. So we are at Long Beach Airport, and we're going to be taking off in this plane in just a minute. We're going to be exploring a couple of areas very unique to Southern California, where dozens, if not hundreds of witnesses have seen strange objects coming up out of the water, USOs.
Long Beach, Glen, Cessna 65537, Aces High for 26 right with India.
5, all ground traffic is 133.0, land and hold short operations in effect.
26 right, taxi via Kilo, thank you, Cessna 527.
All right, we're ready.
Cool.
All right, gauges are alive, airspeed's alive. Go. All right, so Newport Beach is just to the left of us under here. We're at 5,500. And we're cruising over the top of the airspace of John Wayne Airport. So from here, about this location over to Catalina is where Dr. Knuth and Zadaski, I never say his name right, he'll hate me for that. Anyways, this is where they did research and found that anomaly, they isolated it to somewhere within this very large area, all the way out to Catalina.
Right.
Right, and so it's really hard for us to pinpoint an exact area, so we're going to fly a track kind of back and forward down in this area to see if we have any anomalous sort of a reading show up in the particle detector. We're trying to stay out of the airspace of John Wayne Airport, and our GPS that's broadcasting what our ADS-B data we call it keeps disappearing. My plane resume on navigation. We keep disappearing. So my icon on my ADS-B data keeps disappearing. Now that's not totally uncommon, but in that same spot, as we went down and as we came back,
right,
So this was weird, guys. Ross is gonna love this. No joke, in this one area around Laguna Beach, it was just in this area as we're going back and forth on this track, I lost GPS data. Now that's not too uncommon with device we use sometimes to go out, but it returns when I leave the area.
So Ben, these detectors that you were using, what are they? How do they work?
I went to Dr. Jadagas and I said, look, we're going to be going up in a plane. Our interviews, everything kind of pointed us to the idea that I think we should get up in the air and try to do a survey. But what do you survey with? We've got EMF fields, radiation, which I really know very little about. So the expert, Dr. Jadagas, said, well, we've got these particle detectors. So he lent them to me, gave me some basic instructions, and I had one of my team members, John, run that. And I'll let Dr. Jadagas explain when we turned over the data to him what he actually found.
Professor?
What happened was crazy, in my opinion. So first, one of them didn't work at all. That was not anomalous because equipment just doesn't work. Equipment fails. It's not anomalous. But one was working. But very strange is that when he got close to the area, on our famous hole in the sky, he didn't just experience GPS issues. That's a separate story. But we also found, when I looked at the data from the Cosmic Watch, it seemed to start rising faster than I would have expected naturally from cosmic rays with altitude. And then all of a sudden, the device just stopped working. And I've never seen it stop working in this exact failure mode. It just stopped taking data. And then when he left this roughly rectangular area, and when he's landing the plane, it resumed normal operation. And despite multiple attempts for me of testing the exact same unit that is shipped back to me, I could not replicate this failure mode where it just stopped taking data. I cannot explain this right now.
So, Professor, what's the takeaway from that? Are you now saying there is a portal, a tear in the sky, some kind of wormhole?
I'd love to be able to say that, but we don't have sufficient evidence of that because we don't have gravitational anomalies, gravitational waves like you would see from something like that. We are very far from being able to confirm something like that. I would love to be able to confirm something like that, but we are still in the scientific process, which is slow. Science is slow and boring. We're still not there. But where we are is we're better off than we were. We now have more evidence that there is something strange in the Catalina area.